Hey, welcome back to FTRonomics. Kenny Bedwell, Bill Faith. Today, we're going to be talking about where you should be looking to invest in 2025. Let's start with where not to be looking before we dive into where people should be looking. I want your opinion. We were just talking about this. I'm going to put you on the spot. Asheville, North Carolina. What do you think we're going to be talking about Asheville in October, November, December of next year? Is it still, are you and I still putting people into properties in Asheville, or is that going to become Blue Ridge, Georgia? The flood there, Kenny, is higher than Erie. It's higher than Blue Ridge. I see so many people flooding in to Asheville.
It's getting very competitive.
You remember when we first started talking about Asheville? It was like, hey, if you can get within a mile of the city limits, then it was 5 miles. Now everything's like 20 to 30 minutes from the city limits.
Right, right. I think that, and also you have to be willing to invest into the design decor and amenities just to keep up. It's like every house looks like a Sheeta's house, or there's another designer there too. They all they have their styles. I can recognize it like that, and they all look like, I don't know, it starts to blend together. Uh, even though they're all unique and different, but they're all at that high level. And so, is it a market that you should run away from? If you don't have the budget and the capital to invest in the property, yes, you should not be thinking about investing in Nashville. So please don't send this episode to Tyler Kuhn. And that is all. So, oh
You
boy.
know, you know what I believe? I think people should be thinking about targeting niches, unique niches, however the hell you say it. I'm not that smart. I'm a college dropout.
I think it's niches, but I could be,
Is
I
it
don't know.
niche or niche? Comment down below. Is it niche or niche?
Phonetically comment down below, because if you just spell niche or niche like
Yes,
Niche, then good job, you know how to spell. But
exactly.
we need to know how to
I
pronounce
don't know how
it.
to spell either. Um,
Can you
so
do us a favor?
the market is super important. It's like one of the markets are like one of the most important things, but I also thinking about the niche that you're going to niche down into. And I bring this up because there's a niche that I really want to get into from a return on investment standpoint. But for me, I don't want to say morally because I don't care if anybody else does it, but it's literally swingers retreats. And we
Sorry.
had a lady, Kenny. So a market that I would not invest into right now is Panama City Beach, right? And there's a lady that attended my Orlando boot camp, and she's a developer, and she built an adults only place for like 675,000, and she's doing over $200,000 a year because of that niche, right? So I think if and that works in Panama City Beach, probably works in a handful of markets. Isn't going to work probably in the Smokies like it would in PCB. Would absolutely crush. Potentially in the Miami area or down in the Keys, Key West, where
Anywhere there's a large Harley Davidson presence, that's going to do very well, right?
100%, 100%.
So,
So, but you don't see people really niching down
yeah.
like that hard. You know what I mean? And there's quite a few that you can do. You see that what happened in Orlando, the Disney thing, then everybody comes in behind it. But my point is I think markets can also play into those niches. And if you can find a niche and that would be applicable in a market, that's valuable too. So I don't want to go off the rails here, but what are your top three markets that you're looking at in 2025?
Well, let me add to that. And so this is something that I've kind of been telling people is like, you have to, and this goes back to what you just said and kind of what I said earlier, is you have to be willing to invest in the property. So I think, like, honestly, gone are the days, unless you're going to do a renovation. Let me get that out clearly. But gone are the days where you can just take 75K, 100K, which includes your down payment and closing costs, and furnishing budget, and buying a short-term rental and expecting it to be successful, even if it's at 400 or $500,000. You have to invest into the property. You have these companies like TechVestor buying freaking 1,500 square foot ranches in Tampa, Florida, and spending $300,000 in amenities, and making like $200,000 to $300,000 in gross revenue. Good for them. But the reality is, they went and they bought this like $500,000 home. It ain't gonna appraise for that much more, but they over amenitized it. And a lot of people are doing that. They're copying one another with tons of amenities. And so you have to be willing to invest. Now, does that mean you need to go buy a property and put $200,000 to $300,000 into it for every single one? No, not at all. But what I'm saying is like the strategy I've been telling people recently is like, don't always go at the top end of your budget based on because you can afford it because the lender said you get pre-approved for that amount. That might not be the best thing to do. It might be to go lower so that you have more capital to use to leverage because you have to do the value add. You have to have the high level of design in the core. You have to have the amenities. And if you skimp on any of that, you're going to get destroyed, especially in almost any established vacation market where people have been there for many years. They've got hundreds of reviews and you're going up against them and competing with them. You can't do that anymore. You got to be smart. You got to be strategic. So
That's why without naming a market, people should be looking for markets that don't have that in it to separate themselves.
yeah.
Right.
There's a point in time though where theoretically all the established vacation markets will have revealed themselves.
100%. But if you can get in early, you're going to get a longer run rate before that happens.
True.
Right.
That's
So
very
like
true.
we saw 2 years in Banner Elk before people started coming in and going to Seven Devils and, Nadia and David and those guys and putting in the game rooms and stuff after I went in and I did it. Right. So, I mean, I had pretty much 2 years of insulation there. I'm the first person in Whitefish to do, geodomes and barrel saunas and stuff like that. But people are going to come behind me and do it, and do that type of stuff. But it's not going to happen in 4 months. You know what I mean? It's going to take years for that to happen and to be able to catch up with that competitive standpoint. It's one of the reasons I went to Cave Creek versus going to Scottsdale. Well, plus regulation, which if you didn't hear our last episode, you should go back and listen to the whole thing about regulation and, Kenny's experience in getting shut down in Buffalo. So I think that's part of at least for me, that's part of the evaluation process to see what is holistically being done in that market. It's one of the things I love about the Outer Banks. It's old school, right? And I think there's a lot of opportunities if there's enough traffic in the northeast part of the country, staying out of the southeast, to be able to go find those old school markets and create new school, type of investments with amenities and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely like that's my favorite thing to
Look
do
at
is
what John and fucking Carrie Antune are doing in Hot Springs, Arkansas. They're building great super properties and they're absolutely annihilating the numbers down there because there's a handful of them. There's not 50 or 100.
there will be soon though.
There 100% there will be.
Yeah. In fact, I personally I don't encourage people to go to Hot Springs because of that.
There's not enough traffic.
But also there's so many people doing that. It's call it the Burger King method where their Burger King follows McDonald's everywhere. It's the same thing. Like people are naturally lazy and they're not creative enough. And it's risk too, right? We want to see some numbers. We want to be confident somebody's already tested the model out. Therefore we can go and replicate it. But the problem is, as you become more of an adopter of something, the returns are less, but the effort is the same as the first person who went and tried it. And so,
Agreed.
yeah, I put a pause on Hot Springs because there's just too many people really doing that. Now, if you're already in that market, doesn't mean it's a bad market. No, not at all. But I'm talking about going in now. That's the whole point of this is where in 2025, not where have you already invested, so don't feel like I'm poo-pooing on your market.
I mean, it's the same reason,
Yeah.
Kenny, when you and Emil turned me on to Banner Elk, why I went there versus going to the Smokies. I mean, can you literally buy a $900,000 4-bedroom in the Smokies today and not have the mod pool and not have a $100,000 game room and be able to compete? You can't.
No, that's that thing will gross 80,000. Yeah.
100%. You cannot do it. So I try to find markets that stuff doesn't exist and then go in and create it, be the first one in the market or at least super early adopter, and then let everybody chase, after that. And then I've got my run rate. So, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Top 3 cities or markets, name them that you think people will be investing into or should look at going into 2025.
Top 3. Okay, so I'm going to give some regions.
Asheville, Logan, Blue Ridge.
Done. Broken Bow is a close third, but it makes it's fourth. There's one I'm not going to give away because I'm personally keeping. I can't give away everything. That's the problem. I give away too much, and it's great, but then people literally will follow me. They're following me to certain markets, and I'm like, stop.
We've seen that for 3 years, and that's what I think we should qualify is.
Yeah.
Bill and Kenny are making their own investments and their inner circle investments first, and to a market friends, family, whatever that is. I remember I just saw the photo of me and Tyler Kuhn at the Banner Oak property taking a selfie, and he said, "Will you text me that?" And I said, "I'll text you, but you can't post it until I allow you to post it." It was 9 months before we posted and announced that we were in Banner Oak, and I'd already bought my Beach Mountain property. And I think 4 or 5 mastermind members at that time had already invested in there. So you need to think about, when you hear Kenny and I talking about markets, it's very similar to trying to get your stock investing advice off of CNBC, because that stuff is usually about 2 to 3 days behind. And, the markets have already, taken into account the investing. But anyways, Kenny, top three.
Okay. Well, I thought of the first one. So there's a common theme, and I see it every single year, and it just continues to surprise me and impress me, is being around national parks. Like, it just doesn't, they're just reliable, and they're very, very consistent. Now, I get the Smokies are a national park, and I think that's been blown up for a while, but
Why does Zion suck?
Zion's like, well, they have harsh regulations there. So they force people to tiny air. I mean, that's we can get into Utah in a second, but it's just too expensive. So but a lot of the top markets are around state/national parks, and they'll be around for a while, and it's about getting in at the right times. So a couple of areas that I really like, number one, and let me preface some of this too. Just because I say it's a good market doesn't mean it's a good market for you. And the reason why is might be budget. Okay. It might be the better deals or the holes in the market are at higher bedroom counts that are just, you're out of your budget range. And that's okay. There's other places that are better for you in that case. Or on the inverse, it could be a really, really affordable market, but the cash flow just isn't there to justify your time. Like, I mean, Bill, are you going around buying $300,000 homes?
I just bought a $569,000 one
Well,
bedroom.
it's not 300, is it? So
It's not. And I talked to Avery about this a lot. Even a couple of months ago, she just closed on a 1 bedroom condo for 300,000 in the Smokies, and she's going to crush her cash on cash return. But her and Luke are the 250 unit people. That just doesn't fit into my model. But and that brings up something. Kenny, you said budget. You got to look at bedroom count, all the things we talk about and what to invest. Like the Smokies, we just talked about, we wouldn't buy a 4 bedroom unless we could, do the Abernathy, mod pool on top, and, the $100,000 game room and the long range view. You just can't compete. But, that doesn't mean the Smokies is a bad market to invest into, right? If you can find that amazing view 8 bedroom at the top of Ober, or that 1 bedroom, that you can walk to Dollywood or walk to Gatlinburg or whatever that is, it has those unique features. It doesn't have to be what people think a super property is with all the shit. That's just not investing. Hence I've never bought a 1 bedroom condo before, but I bought the location and that was it. That's the only reason that I bought that thing. And the location will drive the investment from a cash flow perspective, and most importantly, from an appreciation perspective. And so anyways, enough's enough, Kenny. Name the fucking markets, 3 markets where people should be looking to, and then qualify it with budget and maybe even bedroom count.
Sure. Keystone, South Dakota, Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, and Bar Harbor. So
what was the last one?
There we go. Bar Harbor, Maine.
Bar Harbor, Maine. Is that where Justin lives?
Justin Portland. I think he's in Portland, Maine.
Maybe that's it.
That's where the people live. No one lives really at Bar Harbor. Well, it's like the region. So keep in mind, these are regions. We also like Davis, West Virginia too, which is another one. But West Virginia is really, really good. That's actually one of the top.
Is that the Gorge?
The Gorge. There's Beckley, which is near New River Gorge. Then there's Berkeley Springs, which has like a little ski hill. There's a little resort, and there's some state parks. And then also Davis, West Virginia. There's a lot of climbing, but a state park there. These aren't like,
You notice Kenny said ski hill, everybody. He didn't say
that's very
a mountain and a resort. Yeah. Ski hill,
right.
1 lift. It's like 300 feet of elevation.
Right. But these are like $500,000 houses. They're like 5 bedrooms. 4 or 5 bedrooms is a perfect sweet spot to be in.
Sounds like Logan, Ohio in early 2020.
There you go. Exactly. So like you can't buy that in Logan, Ohio for $500,000.
Not today.
So not today.
You remember that 7-bedroom we saw in Logan, Ohio for like $398,000 or some ridiculous dollar amount in the movie theater at the mastermind meeting? I think it was Paul Hugh that found it while you were doing your presentation.
Yeah, he's like, I've already got an offer in now. So yeah, so we do like that. We actually just got a client. It's awesome. They got a sick property near Keystone, which is right near Mount Rushmore. So you got Madlands National Park, you have Mount Rushmore.
Rapid City area on the far west side for everybody that's not familiar.
I don't think anyone's familiar with Rapid City either, but that's okay. I'm just kidding.
We actually have an airport there. That's where you fly
Yeah,
into. Just
it's South
FYI.
Dakota. Lead would be one area. It's kind of that's ski. It's just be careful. But the budget you have to actually you can't go over 800,000. The revenue just isn't there, and so there's a sweet spot of like that 5 to 800 range, and obviously higher bedroom count the better. But we just found this really cool property. The house was boring, like like it's just it's a terror. Like it's a nice house, but the house on the outside looks boring. But the back porch, I kid you not, you walk out and you have a view of the presidents. How
Come
cool!
on.
Yeah, dead serious. I was like, yeah, I don't care what this thing is. You
Is it
just
still
buy
on the
it.
market? Because I'll buy that right
No,
now.
it's gone. We already got it. We're already closed on it before I even said anything. Because somebody, yeah, I'm like, that's awesome. And they didn't like show that in the photo. Well, they showed it in a photo, but it looked like it was like fake. And then we were like, we did a video tour. We're like, hold up, that's like you can actually see the presidents there, like from the back porch. And I'm like, that's amazing. So anyway, and the numbers were very solid there for what the competition was. I was very
Now
surprised.
the numbers are all going to be affected on how they market that.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
There's probably 0 to 5 short-term rentals that have that same view.
Yeah, if they market it, that's the thing, and a lot of them don't. So I love those kind of markets. And then finally, I do like Maine, the Maine coast. I said Bar Harbor, but it's very very small. You want to look outside of it, beyond water. That's going to be your higher end budget. That's going to be your higher cash flow, 200,000 plus in revenue. Lots of great potential. So I'll also be dropping the usual annual report towards the end of December. Maybe I'll post a link somewhere of early access for listeners, and they can get and listen to get the list and see the other markets. So
What's number 2? Oh, wait, what? You already gave number 2.
I already gave 3. So,
Okay, awesome. That's it?
that's all I'm going to give right now.
Okay. I'll squeak some out and I'll post it down in the comments below on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna find out what that
If you hit subscribe, you'll see the full list. If you
it
don't,
just drops down automatically. Hit the
Yeah,
subscribe button. You're gonna see the top 100 cities to invest into per Kenny Bedwell.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you everybody for joining us on this episode of Astronomics. Kenny, will we be back next week? We will. We'll be back next week. I'll see you guys again. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Happy hosting, everybody.